A nurse slid a certified envelope into Thomas Hartley's trembling hands. The letter said his house, 114 Sycamore Lane, had been transferred by quitclaim deed.
This can't be right. No one else had authority. David, tell me now. Did you sign anything on the house?
Dad, slow down. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm holding a certified letter. The house is in escrow. You're the only one with access.
That's impossible. You're stressed from the treatment. Let me come to the center and we'll sort this out.
But 2 weeks earlier, David had moved into his father's house with a cardboard box and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He told neighbors he was helping, but he had already bought a quitclaim deed form and practiced a signature.
That boy is lying, and if he's lying, this fight is far from over.
3 weeks earlier, in a cramped attorney's office, David Hartley stared at divorce papers that emptied his future.
She can't take my pension and my savings. There has to be a way out. The house is in Dad's name. She can't touch it.
The house became his escape route, a clean $1.4 million untied to his marriage. He bought a quitclaim deed form at an office supply store and pulled out old legal papers bearing Thomas's signature.
A little practice and no one will question it.
For hours, he traced the loops and slant of his father's handwriting until the copy was exact.
Sorry, Dad, but I am not going back to nothing.
He stamped it with a mobile notary seal, a woman who never questioned the man signing as Thomas.
2 weeks and I'll be on a beach while Susan fights over scraps.
Thomas arrived home to find a sold sign speared into his front lawn.
This can't be. No one had the right to sell my home. The deed was notarized last Thursday. I was in Chemo. I never signed anything.
The realtor insisted the quitclaim had been properly recorded, with a notary's seal.
Dad, I heard the news. Who would do this to you?
Someone forged my name. The notary witnessed a man claiming to be me.
When I saw the notary stamp at the title office, when I called earlier, they mentioned a stamp.
You've been talking to the title office about my house before I knew?
You're twisting my words. This is the Chemo talking. You're confused.
He's lying. Every word. And he'll slip again.
The next morning, Thomas stood at the county recorder's counter, his hands steady but his heart racing.
I need to see every deed filed for 114 Sycamore Lane this month.
The clerk handed over a certified copy, and Thomas unfolded it with the weight of a death sentence.
That's not my signature. The loops are wrong. The pressure uneven.
He placed an old bank document beside the deed. The forgery was unmistakable.
My own son. He sat across from me and lied while I was hooked to an IV.
He folded the copy into his pocket, his face hardening like cement.
Thank you. I'll be needing this.
He understood that a man fighting cancer couldn't fight a legal war alone.
But I will not lose this house. Not to him. Not like this.
Thomas walked back into his living room, the deed hot in his pocket, and found David zipping a suitcase.
You forged my signature. I pulled the original deed. It's not even close.
Chemo's making you paranoid. You're grasping at straws because you're scared.
The notary described a man in his 40s wearing your watch and your arrogance.
Fine. You want blunt? The house is gone. The money is mine. You'll be in a care home by next month.
Get out of my house, right now. And don't you ever come back.
David snapped the suitcase shut and smirked, as if he'd already won. He left without looking back. Alone, Thomas called a real estate attorney whose number a nurse had slipped him weeks ago.
My son committed deed fraud. The closing is in 5 days. I need an injunction.
The attorney was hesitant. The timeline was absurd, but agreed to review the documents that afternoon. The lawyer hit walls immediately. The notary's log was conveniently lost, the buyer hidden behind an LLC, and the title company refused to intervene.
So I'm trapped? My own name is being used against me.
Without a court order, no one would open the file, and the judge refused to hear it on emergency grounds.
He covered every track. He has been planning this for months while I was too sick to notice.
And while Thomas fought the courts, his body fought the chemo. Each session scraped another layer of strength away.
If I die in this chair, he gets everything anyway.
Then David called, his voice greasy with false concern.
Dad, why fight? Take the settlement I'm offering, a few $1,000s. You won't need much longer.
I will see you in court before I take a dime of that stolen money.
But the closing was 4 days away, and Thomas had nothing except a forged signature and a fading prayer. On the third day, a call came from a corporate attorney representing Hartley Holdings LLC, the mysterious buyer.
You're saying the LLC bought my house to help me? Why would strangers do that?
The attorney explained they had been tracing hidden assets from a contentious divorce case, and the quitclaim deed surfaced.
This feels like a trap. But if it's real, it's the only hand I've been offered. Who owns the LLC? I won't move forward without a name.
The attorney paused, then said the client was someone who had every reason to hate David Hartley and would reveal herself in person.
Susan. It has to be. Only she would understand and be able to afford this. Set the meeting tomorrow, somewhere public.
They agreed on a park bench near the hospital, away from the house, away from any eyes David might have watching.
Even if she's angry at David, that doesn't make her my ally. But it might make her the one person who can stop this.
Thomas sat on the cold park bench, coat collar high, scanning every face that passed.
Thomas, it's been a long time. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances.
You're the buyer, Hartley Holdings. It's you.
My attorney formed the LLC to catch David hiding assets. The deed popped up. I put in the cash offer myself.
You bought my house from a forged deed, knowing it could blow up? That's a hell of a gamble.
I knew he'd panic at closing. The plan is simple. I walk in, present the divorce filing, and my handwriting expert will expose the forgery in real time.
You've thought of everything. But what do you get out of this?
Justice. And when the sale is voided, any settlement from the divorce fraud will be split between us.
They shook hands, an unexpected alliance forged in shared betrayal.
For the first time, the closing doesn't feel like my funeral. It feels like David's.
They met again on the same bench, the autumn light thinner now, Susan's voice carrying the weight of old guilt.
It took me years to see that David didn't just hurt me. He hurt everyone who trusted him.
You trusted a husband. There's no shame in that.
He drained our accounts for a phantom business venture. I found out when the bank called about missed mortgage payments.
Later, they sat across from Leo Crane, whose magnifier had never once missed a forgery.
Pressure tremors at the start of a stroke, unnatural pauses mid-letter. Your son didn't just sign, he committed a crime.
He marked 3 inconsistencies within 90 seconds, each one damning. At the attorney's office, they rehearsed the closing's choreography, timing each entrance to the minute.
Clara will be blindsided, but the divorce filing compels her to stop proceedings. Then Leo speaks.
They parted under street lamps, the plan humming between them. The closing was 3 days away. 48 hours before closing, David Hartley zipped his suitcase in a motel room, a boarding pass to Cancun on the nightstand.
14 hours until I'm a millionaire. Dad can rot in that house for all I care.
He dialed Thomas, not to reconcile, but to savor the victory.
Dad, I'm just calling to say goodbye. My flight leaves an hour after the closing. I'll send you a postcard from the beach.
You do that, son. Enjoy the sun.
He sounds broken. Perfect.
Let him think he's already won. By this time tomorrow, he'll be in handcuffs.
David checked his bank app, already seeing the pending transfer of $1.4 million. He set his alarm for 8 a.m., unaware that the closing had already been rigged against him. And across town, Thomas lay awake, the forged deed under his pillow, rehearsing the words he would never have to speak. Thomas rose before dawn, his stomach too knotted for food.
Just get to the title office. That's all that matters.
He chose the same burgundy cardigan, smoothing the lapels like armor. Meanwhile, Susan and Leo Crane walked into Fidelity National Title an hour early. No fanfare.
Clara, we'll set up in the conference room. Leo needs morning light for the document analysis.
Leo unfolded a portable magnifier and positioned a camera, his movements precise and unhurried.
The light is adequate. I'll have no trouble isolating the tremors.
The cab pulled up. Thomas stepped out, his cane striking the pavement with finality. Inside, the conference room was ready. Clara arranged documents. Susan and Leo sat in quiet resolve. Thomas walked in, his eyes sweeping the room, and took his seat without a word. David's sedan pulled up at the title office, his flight confirmation glowing on the dashboard phone.
2 more signatures, and I'm on a plane. Dad can keep the cardboard box.
Clara led him to the conference room, pulling out a chair, and David sat, not yet registering the figure at the far end.
Let's move this along, Clara. I've got a plane to catch.
He finally looked up and saw Thomas, stone-faced, his hands folded over a wooden cane.
Look who decided to watch. Hope you enjoy the show.
Clara placed the final settlement statement in front of him, and David reached for the pen. He signed with a flourish, the forged signature already buried under layers of paper.
By the time anyone questions it, I'll be in a different country.
Then the conference room door swung open, and every head turned toward it. Susan Hartley stepped through the doorway, a leather portfolio in one hand, her divorce attorney at her shoulder.
What the hell is this?
I'm the buyer, David. Hartley Holdings is my LLC, which I set up to catch you hiding assets.
She placed the divorce petition and the original deed on the table, face up.
This deed is a forgery. My handwriting expert is waiting in the next room with a camera and a magnifier.
This is a setup. You're trying to ruin me because you couldn't hold the marriage.
You forged your own father's name. I have bank records, the notary's testimony, and the LLC purchase trail. The sale is void, David. You've just committed a felony in front of 2 attorneys.
David's face drained of color. His hand, still holding the pen, trembled above the paperwork.
You should have taken the beach, son. Now you'll get a cell.
David lunged for the deed, intending to tear it and flee. Thomas rose with surprising speed, his cane blocking the door in one fluid motion.
You're not leaving this room until the expert finishes his work.
Susan opened the side door, and Leo Crane entered, carrying a brass magnifier on a stand.
This is Leo Crane, forensic document examiner for the state bar. He'll have an answer in minutes.
This is illegal detention. Clara, call the police. They're holding me against my will.
I'll call the authorities once the examination is complete, as per protocol.
Leo ignored the exchange, positioning the deed under the lighted lens.
You're all going to regret this. That deed is real. I'll sue every one of you.
All that talk, and he still can't look me in the eye.
Leo positioned a 1993 bank document bearing Thomas's genuine signature next to the quitclaim deed, and the room went silent.
You see the capital T? In the genuine, the crossbar lifts cleanly. In this forgery, it drags, classic hesitation.
Handwriting changes over 30 years. This proves nothing.
Leo rotated the magnifier, and the ink's pressure pattern became visible, steady in one, erratic in the other.
The pen lifted twice mid-stroke. A forger almost always pauses to check the original. Mr. Hartley never paused.
Clara's pen scratched against her notepad, each observation entering the permanent official record.
This is junk science. Get me my lawyer.
Your lawyer can meet you at the police station. Keep talking, it'll only help the case.
Leo overlaid a transparent grid, and the slant discrepancy was visible even to the untrained eye. The evidence hung in the air, ready to drop, but Leo had not yet spoken the word forgery. The room held its breath as Leo declared the quitclaim deed a forgery. Clara did not hesitate. She opened a red ink pad and stamped void across every page.
As of this moment, the sale is nullified. All funds are frozen pending investigation.
Susan's attorney stepped outside, phone already in hand, and requested immediate police assistance.
This is a witch hunt. My father is sick. He doesn't know what he's saying.
You're right, David. I am sick, but I know a lie when I see one, especially from my own blood.
And the divorce is no longer contested. You've just proven fraud in front of a title officer.
David sank into a chair, his head in his hands. No more bluster, no more threats. Outside, sirens grew louder, and the room fell into a heavy, waiting silence. Thomas met Susan's eyes, and for the first time in weeks, the weight on his chest felt lighter. The conference room door opened, and two uniformed officers stepped inside, scanning the tense faces.
Officers, this quitclaim is a forgery. The sale is void, and all funds are frozen.
My father's been ill. He's confused. I had his permission. This is all a misunderstanding.
Officers, here are his bank records and the LLC purchase trail. Everything leads back to him.
An officer placed a blank sheet before David and asked him to sign. The pen trembled. He signed, but the strokes were jagged and nothing like the deed. One officer announced the charges, felony deed fraud and forgery, while the other pulled out handcuffs. The cuffs clicked around David's wrists, and his shoulders slumped as the metal echoed through the silence.
He made his choices. Now he'll see the inside of a cell.
The immediate threat was over, but the cost would linger far beyond this room. Outside the title office, the autumn wind stirred fallen leaves as Thomas and Susan paused on the sidewalk.
Susan, I can't thank you enough. Without you, I'd be homeless.
You were the only father-in-law who ever treated me like family. It was the least I could do. The divorce will be straightforward now. The fraud helps my case.
She lost a husband but gained her dignity back.
They parted with a simple handshake, allies who had walked through fire together. The cab dropped Thomas at Sycamore Lane. He walked to the sold sign and gripped the cold metal post. With a grunt, he yanked it from the ground and tossed it onto the lawn like a piece of trash.
It's over. The house is mine.
He stepped inside, the door closing behind him with a quiet, final click. Months later, Thomas's oncologist held up a scan showing no remaining malignancy.
I survived the chemo and the betrayal. The worst is finally behind me.
The divorce settlement froze everything. David's assets are being liquidated as we speak.
He wanted to leave me with nothing. Instead, he'll spend 18 months in a cell with nothing.
In the courtroom, David Hartley pleaded guilty to felony deed fraud and accepted the 18-month sentence. The judge's gavel fell, and with it, the last remnant of David's greed crumbled. A week later, Susan's attorney handed Thomas a certified check, his half of the recovered settlement.
Not a fortune, but enough to live peacefully in the home I kept.
Back at Sycamore Lane, Thomas sat in his favorite chair, a photograph of his late wife on the side table. The house was quiet. The fight was over. Thomas Hartley had won. One afternoon, Thomas took a bus to the cemetery, a single white lily in his hand.
Eleanor, the house is still ours. I didn't let him take it.
He knelt by the headstone and traced her name with a finger worn thin by time and treatment.
Your son is in prison. For once, justice held.
He placed the lily on the marble and sat for a long moment among the quiet stones. When he returned to Sycamore Lane, the late afternoon sun gilded the porch where he'd spent 40 years.
I lost a son but found a friend. Susan calls every Sunday now.
He settled into the rocking chair, the same one Eleanor had painted blue the summer before she died.
Some things, not even cancer or a forged signature can destroy.
The evening deepened, and Thomas rocked slowly, his grip easy on the deed. A month later, David sat on a prison cot, the words forgery and family echoing in the steel quiet.
He'll never forgive me. Maybe he shouldn't.
Thomas did not dwell on the cell. At his kitchen table, he unfolded the voided deed one last time.
This paper tried to steal my home. Now it's just a receipt.
He slid it into a drawer already holding his wife's letters and closed it without ceremony. He stepped outside, where the garden that had seen his wife's hands now waited for spring.
She planted these roses the year David went to college. They outlasted his conscience.
He picked up his cane and walked the perimeter, testing the soil beneath his shoes.
The ground is still firm, still mine.
He looked up at the old house, its windows catching the last low light. The evening air was cool and faintly sweet with cut grass as Thomas lowered himself into the blue rocking chair on the porch.
I survived the thing meant to kill me. That's more than enough.
The voided deed stayed folded in his cardigan pocket, no longer a weapon, just a receipt. His eyes, once fierce with fear, now held a quiet, measured calm. The hardwood floors inside had borne the stomp of a young son, the shuffle of an old man, and the quiet tread of a wife. And they still held. The house glowed against the darkening sky, every window a warm promise. Thomas Hartley had beaten cancer, exposed fraud, and reclaimed his home from his own blood. The house remained his. Some things no one can take from you. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in years the silence felt like home,